of my programs have all come from collaborative events. And I talk about collaborative events all the time, and it still blows my mind the volume of people that either aren't using them or discounting them or are actually flat ups just avoiding them. And I want to show you how these 324 students have come in. So I want to talk to you about the strategy that was used, but also how they came to be there. So, like, how long did it actually take for them to be there? I will say it time and time again, collaborative events are the number one strategy. I've not found another one, right? I've not found it like, and I'm talking strategy, right? I'm not. This doesn't take away from connection, because to be honest with you, it doesn't matter what strategy you use if you're not connecting with people. None of them are going to work, right? So I'm not talking about that, but I'm talking about an actual strategy that will bring in clients to your business. I have not found another one organically that creates the same volume. I just haven't. I just haven't. And it's the one thing that I will put like the stamp of guarantee and approval on that works, because it has worked every time for me, and it's worked every time for my clients. When there's certain things that you want to follow. So like, I see an awful lot of people doing collaborative events, like in particular summits, so doing summits, and them not getting stuff out the back end and getting frustrated. But it's because they're not actually following the systems that work. They're trying to mimic what somebody else is doing, hoping that it will work because they know that there's something there. So the one thing that I'll say to you is, if up until now you have not introduced collaborative events into your business, pay attention, because it is going to single-handedly change your business, like it has done mine, like it has done my clients. So for those of you that don't know me, I'm Joanna Holleran, and I'm a business mentor who currently has allergies and supports coaches to be able to bring in clients consistently. And the main source that we use is collaborative events, because it allows you not only to multiply the volume of people that you're able to speak to, because you need people to speak to in order for them to become clients, right? So to increase the volume of people that you speak to, how you speak to them, how you sign them, so that you can increase your revenue. So I mean, if you right now are not having consistent 3 to 5K months in your business, pay attention. Pay attention. So the one thing that you don't want to do, and I'm going to keep saying it, is you don't want to chase cash. So a lot of the strategies that are out there are designed to get the quick wins, but that they're not buildable on, right? And this is not discounting them, because they are amazing, right? There's a reason they work, but you want to layer them onto a foundational strategy. So hear what I'm saying. You want to lay them onto a foundational strategy. So think about it, if you're building a house. If you don't put the foundations in, it doesn't matter what your walls are like or what your windows or your roof are like. At some point, they're going to cave in. They may look great, right? And they may work for a certain amount of time, but then because they're not on a foundation, they fall. So the collaborative events for me are the foundation, the core of our strategies, and then we layer the other ones on it, right? So this is why they work. This is why they work. Nothing that we do in our business is done on a one and done. Everything is layered. But I want to bring you into why these work so well and where the 321st students came from. So this isn't fluke. This isn't luck. Because if it was, then it wouldn't work the same way for my clients, right? They wouldn't be able to duplicate and replicate it if it was fluke or luck. It doesn't require a certain personality style, right? It doesn't require a lot of money. So then you don't need to invest in ads or anything. What it requires is for you to show up, be open, and be willing possibly to speak to people that you haven't spoke to before, which is what stops an awful lot of people in their tracks, right? But let me break it down. And I'm always fully transparent. My first ever collaborative event I got very lucky, right? I did get lucky on my first one, because I did a summit, and I don't often do summits anymore. I do different types of collaborative events. And then what I always teach my clients is the collaborative event that suits their business model and their niche. Because in my experience, one type doesn't fit all. Okay, because people like to consume things differently. So, your customer journey of how they got there to you is a direct reflection of how they like to consume information. So you need to know that. So we look at that. But I didn't know any of this at the start, right? I was like, okay, I get to build a buyer's list. Let's fucking go. So I was so excited to finally have a strategy, and I swear by them. I swear by them. So my very first one, I did get lucky because I didn't care. Like, you know, who people were. I just got excited that anybody was saying yes. And that's being fully honest. I didn't look to see what their following was, what their email list was, nothing like that. I was just so excited that people said yes. And that was all about me, right? So I got very lucky that that first one worked and that that first one generated over 300 leads. Very lucky. Very, very, very lucky that that's what happened. And that was down to one particular expert that I had on my collaborative event, who took a snippet of the interview that we did and put it on her stories on social media. And she commented on, it was the particular piece that she talked about. It was very well done, that had people flock to me. I got lucky. If she hadn't done that, I think maybe I would have had like 70 people opt in, possibly 80. That's shit, right? When so much time and effort into them, that's shocking. But that was my own doing, right? And I learned that hard with the second one, because with the second one, I did the same thing and I had 8. I had 8 people register for this event. So if that's not a slap in the face to go, you need to follow this in order for it to work. So since then, things have been tweaked, tested. So that was 2020, right? So since then, things have been tweaked, tested, tried multiple different ways. And when I started doing that, I was doing life coaching. Now I'm doing business coaching. So I have been able to see where I get to go with this. The same with my clients. And I'm telling you this because if you're somebody that has tried collaborative events and they haven't worked for you, I would be fairly certain that if we sat down and chatted and we looked at the model that you used, the method that you used, and whether or not you showed up from a powerful place or you came from a getting place, it would be very quick to see what was in the gap. And this is not to make you wrong. I'm sharing my experience because that was a massive learning for me. And by the time I got to my third one, I was like, if I don't get my shit together, like I'm going to end up producing the same thing. It can't, like, if I know that this model works, then I'm the common denominator of why it's not working, not the strategy. So just be really mindful of that too. And if that is you, please connect with me so we can have a chat and look at what your strategy is and what you've used and why it's not working. So let me move on. So that was my first and second one, disaster. The third one got better, fourth one got better. They kept getting better. And I tried multiple different ones. These 324 students have happened in the last 12 months. No, we're in February, so the last 14 months, right? So the last 14 months, those students have come in. But I want to share with you how, because this is the stuff that works. So I'm like, you can have a collaborative event, bring people into you, connect with them, and then not convert anyone into anything. So the reason why this particular one works so well is everything we do in my business for me and for my clients is based on a high touch strategy. So connection is happening at all times. So there's multiple, when I say touch points, as in, like, if I think of all the ways that I can connect with somebody, they're connected with when we're going into a collaborative event, whether it's my collaborative event or I'm on somebody's collaborative event, there's multiple touch points. And this is a big driver in this, okay? A huge driver. And this is from tweaking it, testing it, trying out multiple different things, all right? But connection is key. If you don't have connection, forget about everything else, right? I don't care how awesome your strategy is. I don't care how sexy your system is. You're going to struggle, right? You're going to struggle. And if you're not making sales at the speed that you want to, I would say this is possibly in the gap for you too. Or if this is like all new to you, and this will be in the gap, right? But let me break it down. So this is over the last 14 months, 324 students, which is incredible. And here's the fun thing. I only stopped to look to see how many students were in there during the week. I didn't look before. I just kept going. I wasn't even like really paying attention to the number that was in there, which says a lot. So this is a self-paced program. So let me break this down for you. So collaborative events are happening on a consistent basis, right? On a consistent basis for us. So I will either produce them, as in I physically create them, or I'm on them. But either way, every month there is something happening with them. And just in case you missed this and you're not clear on what a collaborative event is, it's where you team up with other people who also support your ideal client. to create impact for them, to give them an experience, to give them a breakthrough, to give them a win, whatever it is. You come together to do it, and then you essentially get access to each other's audiences, because they're sharing the event, you're sharing the event, and people are opting into your event. They are downloading like lead magnets that like the people you're collaborating with have, and maybe they're buying some of the products. It happens in multiple different ways, right? But the collaborative events for us are happening every month. So there's no month that'll go by where we're not either producing one or we're on one. Okay, so that's happening across the board. But when the collaborative event happens, because there's such a high volume of people coming in, you can't physically speak to every single solitary one of them, right? You cannot speak to every single solitary one of them. So you want to figure out who really is interested in what you do, and who do you need to get to know a little bit better? Like, who's a more cautious buyer, who has clicked on this and is still a little bit unsure or not really feeling confident, or who just needs more, they need more time with you, they need more details, right? So you want to separate them out. There's nothing wrong with either one, there's nothing right with either one, but you want to separate them out so that you can see where your time and attention needs to be placed, right? Because we only have a certain amount of time and energy. So this is what, hear everything that I'm saying, giving you the format of how this works. So when you do a collaborative event, you get an influx of people, right? Or if you're on one, you get an influx of people. Like I did one before Christmas, and I got something like, I don't know what, I think our last count was like 200 and something anyway, new leads in, so new prospect clients. But this is what I did with them. Okay, so this is how we end up with 324 students in one program. So when you get the people coming in, so if you do not have automation set up, even if you're brand new to business, this is the quickest and easiest way to make quick sales, and the quickest and easiest way to see who your hot leads are. Okay, so this is important that you know this. So you want to set up automations so that the moment somebody signs up for your lead magnet or signs up for your event, that they are being offered something, right? So they've already got this, and now they're being offered something else. So this is the flow that we use. This is no secret, right? So they were being offered a low ticket program. So when I say low ticket, I mean like you're talking 27.47, right? We're talking low, but the value in there is insane, right? So in there they go. So some of them will say yes, some of them will say no, some of them won't even realize that it happened. That's okay. But the ones that have said yes, they're really interested, right? They're really looking for a solution. They may not know that you provide the solution that they want, but they're looking. They're like, I need this. I have to have this. Their buyer type is also one that moves quickly. So this is have an opportunity to get to know them quickly, like really quickly connect with them, and then pitch another offer to them. Okay, so that's where you want to go first. Everybody else who hasn't, right, who hasn't purchased, you still continue to offer them something. You just do it in a different way. You're doing it through now rather than like it's not even a sales page, right? But let's say a sales page. You're just doing it in an email. Now, for anyone that's new and going, oh my God, this sounds very complicated. It is the first time you do it, but then when it's set up, it's done. You don't even have to worry about it anymore, right? But if you're serious about having a flow of people coming in and actually having a flow of clients to work with, pay attention. Because I'm sorry to say, and I don't care what anyone else says, like fiddling around in Facebook groups, hoping and praying that somebody is going to connect with you, that's fine if you want one client every 3 months. But if you're serious about a business, like, and this is like your stream of income, like when I started my business, I was a single parent. If I don't make money, who does? Nobody. So again, this is not luck. This is not fluke. This is solid strategy, foundations that you then add on, right? So let's go back. You get a big influx of leads in, right? And a big for you could be anything. Big for you could be 100, it could be 500, it could be 1,000, it could be whatever it is. It doesn't really matter, right? Because you can work with whatever you have. a portion of them are going to buy something small quickly from you. Those people that buy small, you immediately are interacting with. You're connecting with them, you're getting to know them, you're trying to figure out what is the support that they need, what is the solution that they're looking for, and then whether or not you're the person to give it to them. Okay, because we don't say yes to everybody. That's not a thing. So that's part one. Part two then is anybody who hasn't bought for whatever reason, even though it's a really small amount, and will provide incredible value for people. They will have breakthroughs, they will have wins. You then bring them on, you still bring them on a customer journey, okay, whereby they're getting emails, you're getting to know them, you're figuring them out, you're warming them up, and you will continue to sell to them over time. But by tackling it those two ways, right, and by introducing the connection, you have one place that you're funneling people into. What is your one place? If you don't know, great, let's talk about that. Let's make sure that you do know, so that you're driving all of your traffic, right? You're driving every person that's with you into one place. I have that set up in automations. Before I had it set up in so that's how the 324 came in. Before I even knew to set this up in automations, right? Before I even knew, from this percentage that bought initially for the low amount, I was still selling them into that self-paced program. Still selling them into it. Still selling them in. Still selling them in. Still selling them in. Still selling them in. Because you should think about it this way, right? If somebody is coming to you and they don't know you, you want to show them like the value that you can provide for them. You want them to experience it. And see, this is why I'm saying to you, like, you've got to know who your niche is so that you can know what type of event to do. Okay. Because depending on the style of event that you've done will depend on the types of upsells that you create there from there. But you're funneling people all into one area only. Because this is how you can see what's working, what people need to hear, what is making them tick in terms of like, I need this. What are the results that they're getting so that you can duplicate it and multiply it? So what I'm seeing, and it's funny because I've had a conversation with a good few people in the last 2 weeks, and it's really interesting what people are coming back and saying. It's like, I want a strategy that works. And it's like, I always say to people, every strategy that works, the strategy isn't the problem. It's your application of the strategy. Because what a lot of people will do is they will try something once. It doesn't work in the way that they thought it was going to. So therefore they discount it. So what that could look like is that you go, well, fuck this, it's not working. I'm not going to do it anymore. That was a waste of my time. And you create this whole narrative around why it didn't work. I could have done that with my first one. I could have done that with my second one. But then I wouldn't have what I have today if I did that. The problem isn't the strategy. The problem is your application of the strategy, because there's going to be things in there that are going to make you, when I say uncomfortable, they're not like going against your values, but what they're doing is making you have to up-level the way that you think about things and putting yourself into a place where you may think you might be judged, where you may think you might be rejected, where you may think somebody might go, why would I work with you? But that doesn't actually happen. It's just your thoughts are telling you it's going to happen, so it stops you from moving forward. And like, I even think of a conversation I had with a client of mine this morning. She's not in the middle. She's actually at the end of her collab event now, and she's had a great run, but it's not over. Right? It's not over. So she had already started to slow down and avoid doing certain things because we're on the last day, but it's not over till it's over. So I love the events like this because it gets you to really look at, what is my pattern? Is my pattern that, I start something so well and then I get bored? Or, I've done my part, have you done yours? And therefore you pull back and you withdraw and like you avoid. So there's lots of things that come up for it, and it's a great way to be able to see what your patterns are. But let me go back to it. Those 324 came from doing collaborative events where I had a lot of leads coming in every month. So obviously if I do the event, the leads coming in are higher, right? So the prospect clients, the opt-ins, registrations, whatever you want to call them, are coming in higher when I do them, right? Because I'm in control of it. Essentially, I'm driving it. Whereas if I'm on it, my airtime, my screen time, my visibility is a little bit less, but I still get great leads from it. So either way, there's leads coming in every month from me spending a short amount of time doing this. Your first one will take you 90 days. So for anyone's like, oh my God, that's such a long time, I need results now. You're operating on chasing cash. You're operating on your instant gratification. You're not thinking like a business owner. Business is long term. It's not day by day. It's not week by week. It's long term. And you've got to think and operate like that. If you're unwilling to do that, business is going to be hard. Like if you think about it, like how long have you already spent trying to figure things out? Is 90 days really that long? No. Like I always remember I had a conversation with somebody there 3 weeks ago, and she's a new client, and I was, oh bless her, I was laughing as in like I empathized with her, because I know what it feels like. Because I remember like the first 8 months of my business, hadn't got a fucking clue what I was doing, and then found the summit, should I say, and things started to shift, and I could finally see a pattern, and then obviously you up level and stuff from there. But like for 8 months, if I had known that 8 months previously, like business would have been so different. But it was interesting because I had met her last year and we had talked about this, and she put it off and put it off and put it off and put it off. And she said the same thing that most people do is, oh my God, 90 days is such a long time. And I'm like, but if you had said yes when I met you, yours would have already been done. You would have already had your leads in and you would already be making sales. So like, this is what happens when you keep pushing stuff off. But it's great that your patterns really start to come up with these things. So look, I swear by these. If you follow the method correctly, and if you follow it how I teach it, right? So if you're in with me, if you're in the programs and you follow it step by step, it has 100% success rate of generating leads. The volume of leads comes down to you, right? It literally comes down to you, how you show up, how connected you are, whether or not you're open to coaching or whether or not you're just doing something to get makes all the difference. So when you are following it, there's coaching that's supporting you along the way. So look, if this is something that you're like, right, I need to get my shit together. Like I need to have clients coming in consistently. I need to be making cash consistently. I need to know how to make sales. I cannot keep churning on empty and just hoping and praying that somebody's going to turn up. Like if you know that you're looking at the jobs boards, right? And you're like, because I actually had this conversation with a client who signed up for a VIP day, and she was like, you know, the one eye is going over to look and see what jobs are out there and should I take this job? If that's you, then I'm telling you now, giving yourself the 3 months to do this makes all the difference in the world. If it's something that you want to introduce into your business, just send me a message so we can have a conversation, because it's the one thing I teach. And then we layer on your social media stuff and everything else onto that, because you've got to layer stuff. But this is at the core. This is the foundations, because it gives you a lot of information too, in terms of when you have like a good number of prospective clients coming to you, you have a big group of people that you can talk to and find out the exact language that they use when they're talking about things, so that you can then create your content, you can create your emails, you know how to share your program with them so that they can hear it and they're like, oh my God, that's what I want. But when you don't have that big group of people to talk to, sales feels hard, because you have to remember, not every person that you're going to connect with is going to want to buy from you. And that's just the reality of the situation. There is data and percentages behind businesses that we don't get taught when we're starting business. Like we just don't get taught it. But when you have a system like this that you repeat over and over and over again, and you've got leads coming in, sales start to flow, and you're like, oh, I can breathe a sigh of relief. So if you want to breathe that sigh of relief, send me a message and let's chat about this. All right, have an amazing Friday, and I'll talk to you soon.